Hey guys, Jeremy here, and I'm going to run you through what I call the ultimate solution to ending fear in your life, in your marriage, in your parenting, and with your kids. And this is a case study from work I've done with a specific client dealing with fear and how we're going to integrate that. Okay, so dealing with fear, we want to take what is ultimately an emotional experience and contain it, constrain it, put it into, redefine it into solvable terms. Because our emotions, the more we dive into them, the more we associate to them, the more we connect them, the more we give identity to them. I am afraid. We're going to lock ourselves down into a smaller container, into a smaller frame of reference. Because when we say things like, I am afraid, we just locked ourselves into an identity. Not, I am feeling afraid. See, when I'm feeling afraid, I am happening before the feeling. So that increases and expands your capability. It opens you up to more because the truth is, you are not afraid. You are a human being who is capable of feeling afraid. Okay? So we want to understand the framework of fear. Really, we could break it into two different definitions: fuck everything and run, or face everything and rise. We want to build that framework open, make it bigger, more expansive, give us more options. But what often happens is people associate into the thing, I am afraid, identity statement, and they diminish and they make themselves small. Because the thing you're afraid of, the thing you're focused on, is going to grow and expand. It's like if your car is sliding out of control and there's telephone poles, do you look at the telephone pole to miss it? Or do you look at the gap between the telephone poles to miss that? Right? When you look at the telephone pole, that becomes your fixation. You're unconsciously going to drive yourself into the telephone pole because you're going to hit what you aim at. You're going to hit at what you focus. You're going to hit what you feed. But when you aim at the gap between the telephone poles, you're going to hit the gap. You're going to hit the emptiness more likely. Does that make sense? So we got to play with this and understand when it comes to fear, fuck everything and run, face everything and rise. We've got to be able to see it for what it is. And there's two sides to us. There's the human animal, the limbic system, the amygdala, our past memories. There's all this meat, right? There's all this momentum in our lives and things to be afraid of. And, well, I've been hurt before. And so the fear is not always unreasonable. But when we focus on the fear, we get locked. And so we've got the physical animal, the momentum of the body, but then we've got the human awareness, the human spirit, the human ability to think and rationalize and change frames of reference. Fuck everything and run. Face everything and rise. When things get difficult with your wife, with your kids, with yourself, with your career, when things are hard and challenging, it can very often feel like if I just cut my losses and I run away and I go somewhere else, it'll be easier and I'll be more accepted. The problem is the strategies that we had here that weren't working for us, we're going to bring them with us. And we're going to apply those same strategies in new situations. Because if we have not elevated ourselves, we're going to stay stuck in this little small frame. So I really appreciate you coming and joining me on this journey for a few minutes and taking this experience to go through this case study, because it tells me you're a man who wants a higher standard in his life. You're a man who realizes what I'm doing is not getting me where I want to go. I want to go further, farther, faster. And I'm with you, man. Like, that's my whole life. Like, I live at somewhere in the intersection of strategist, mentor, and coach. Like, I hate the reflexive questions. You're in a place of trouble. You're scared. You're overwhelmed. Well, if you did know the answer, what would you say? Jackass, if I knew the answer, I'd be fucking doing it already. What the fuck? Like, that shit pisses me off when I see that in the coaching space. That's why I'm not excited to say I'm a coach. I'm a strategist. I'm a mentor. I'm a resource, an asset, an ally, dude. I'm going to get you a fucking ladder to help you climb to that next stage. Where do you want to be in life and what's getting in the way, and let's remove that. So if that's cool with you, let's dig on. So ultimately, why do we have fear? See, if we can't find the beauty and the gift in the experience, it's very hard to release it. Because what we resist will persist. When we push things away, when we make things wrong, when we compartmentalize it and say, I'll deal with it later, not right now, I'm not available, and we keep pushing that stuff off, the problems aren't resolved, and they're still going to build momentum, and they're still part of our mental and emotional bandwidth. Part of our brain is still ticking on this thing and hasn't figured it out. It's kind of like having a virus in the background of your computer. You keep pushing things away and keep letting those little viruses run, all your resources drop. Have you noticed that for all the work and all the talk that's going on about mental health, more people are depressed and more people are anxious than ever before? It's almost like talking about our problems doesn't give us solutions. Validating, allowing people to stay stuck in their stuff doesn't get them out of their stuff. And now we're finding more variations of problems. Because if there's 8 billion people, there's 8 billion reasons for the problems. But if you want a solution, we got to focus on the result. We got to focus on the gap between the telephone poles. And the world right now is all about, but you have every right to feel that telephone pole and be afraid of that telephone pole because it's big and large and it's coming at you and it's going to eat your soul. And it's like, damn, if we just allow you to feel what you feel, then everything will be okay. And you won't want to hurt yourself. No, actually. The more I make it okay where I am, the more I'm going to get what I don't want. Fuck. So, face everything and rise. So again, to go back to my question. What is the beauty of fear? Think about when you're afraid. Not too deeply, right? Put it up on a movie screen in your mind. But you see yourself when you're afraid. What does that do? When you're afraid of something, do you pay less attention or do you pay more attention? And when you're afraid of something, are you being just like, put on my boots and put on my shit kickers and just stomp through the mud? Or when you're afraid, are you very measured and very careful and very calculating? Right? What I've found when it comes to fear is fear makes us more sensitive to the situation that we're in, to the moment that we're in. And fear makes us pay attention in ways that we wouldn't otherwise. If you knew the next thing you did could result life or death, do you think you're going to be just kind of cavalier and fuck it, roll them dice? Or are you going to be like really careful about what you're doing? I make a mistake, my hand's going to get cut off. Oh shit, I'm going to pay attention to that. So that's what fear is designed to do. Fear is designed to make us pull back for a second, better assess what we're doing, be more sensitive, be more aware, be more calculating. The problem is people get locked and blocked in their brain because when they start thinking about the fear gets bigger. Notice I asked you to think about the fear, but then what did I say? Put it up in your mind like a movie screen. That's called a disassociation, right? Again, I am afraid, I am feeling afraid. I am afraid is an association. It's connecting us into the emotion, connecting us into the moment, the memories. I am feeling afraid is a disassociation with our words. I'm feeling some emotional state that could change. I am the emotional state, and then the emotional state gets bigger because all the other times and all the other things I should be afraid of. Fuck. It's like my wife when we go and do stuff with the kids. I'm climbing the tree. Like I'm up in the tree with the kids. All she can think is how they're gonna fall and break their arm or break their leg, or how I'm gonna fall and break my arm or break my leg. Because she doesn't have the other side of it, face everything and rise. She's not over here. She's faced, fuck it, run. Get away from the fear. Get away from the... Because she's a good mom. Because in her mind, her bias, her gravity is worst case scenario first because our brains are wired for survival. Our brains aren't wired to thrive. Because when things are thriving, any one thing goes wrong, it all collapses. It's better to just stay in survival mode. That's our neurochemistry. Like we're wired to respond to our stress hormones 3 times more powerfully than our endorphins and our oxytocin and all of our love drug stuff. So we're going to panic and freak over here way the fuck faster than we ever would over here. And that's beautiful because then we're conscious, right? This is the whole idea. I'm sharing this with you to bring this awareness because with my client, we went through and did what's called an emotional integration and an emotional release. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. What is the gift in each of those emotions? What is the learnings you could take away? And the big thing for him with fear was about trust. Because when you're afraid, it's really hard to trust. Really hard to go that extra step and say, have faith. And I have a very strong spiritual life, but I don't wave it around at people. I don't beat them over the head with my faith system. But what I can tell you is, if faith is too far, at least take it one step back and trust. And you can trust the people around you, but you can trust yourself. See, he had some things he's been holding on to. At 3 months old, he nearly died. And a team of experts had to come in and help save his life. And then at 7 years old, he nearly died. And he's in his 40s, but he's been holding that emotion for a very, very, very long time. And there's a part of him that's afraid. And so now his son is 6. Guess what happens when we have unresolved emotions in our past and our kids are starting to get to the same age that we experience those unresolved emotions? Notice I didn't say trauma. I said unresolved emotions. Again, disassociation. Trauma, can't control it. unresolved emotions, significant emotional events, moments of impact, puts you back in control. Face everything and rise. So his son is getting to that age and he's finding himself. My son's almost 7, and this wasn't conscious until we talked, until we ran through our process. But at 7, he got caught in a water slide at one of those water parks where you go down the tube and into the wave pool, then the wave pool goes into the lazy river thing. And he got caught in the churn where it was flipping him over and it dumped him underneath the donut, and the water's beating him down and he's running out of air. And he had forgotten how he escaped that. His mind had been holding on to that fear and that I got to protect my son. And so there's conflict between him and his wife because he is, as a husband, as a father, as a man, he is reacting to his unconscious fear, and he's overprotective of his son and puts his son ahead of his wife, and he's overprotective against his wife and trying to keep his son away from anything that could possibly hurt him, stress him, scare him, because at 7 years old, he almost died. And as we did our process, he remembered how he got out of that. Was that there was a rope on the side of the lazy river that he grabbed the rope and pulled himself out. He was able to trust himself to get out of the situation. When he was 3 months old and they did the surgery, his parents had the right team around him and he was able to trust. So the antidote to fear, the ultimate solution to fear, is a mixture of faith and trust. But if you're over here in this box and you're over here in this side of things, it's really freaking hard to have faith and trust in other people or ourselves. Yeah, I trust me to fuck it up. That's what I trust. And that's just a sign we haven't resolved the emotions inside. Right? When we're caught up in fault, blame, guilt, shame, we're stuck in some sort of unresolved emotion. There's some sort of unresolved anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. There's something unresolved that is driving us now as adults. And when we integrate that and release that, when we fully understand that, and we can talk about it in the past, talk about the past, but talk about it for the future. And we don't talk about other people, we talk about ourselves and our ownership of the situation and what we could have done different. And when we talk about it in the positive, that's how you know you have your healing and you move from down here to over here and elevate. So positive self future is going to take you to this elevated place. That's face everything and rise. But when you're locked in the negative emotion, it's about other people, it's about the past, it's about you can't trust, it's about negative, then you're still over here in this wound. You're still in this unresolved stuff. And so that's the ultimate solution, how to get out of this, right? Let me check my notes. Okay, so now we're getting the understanding, we're getting the idea, right? We're moving it, we're facing it. The thing you also have to realize is healing and growth. Healing can happen in an instant, but we still have a momentum in the body. So we have to realize the mind, we can understand, but does the body know? Because part of fear is also a limbic emotional response. It's literally a sensation and a wiring in our brain and in our nervous system to depress our system, to pull us back and stop us from taking risks. It makes us hedge, it makes us hesitate, and that's purely the human animal. See, the forebrain is the thing that controls our ability to think through consequences, and it matures slow. It doesn't fully integrate in men until early to mid-30s. That's when you're actually a mature human animal. Mid-30s, guys. Then you got to work through all the crap you've been building up over the last 25 to 35 years. Holy shit. It's a wonder why we struggle. We don't really feel solid as men, usually until like mid-40s, even into early 50s is when we really feel solid in ourselves. But almost nobody knows this or talks about it because so much of the world is fragmented into different places, and they talk about their narrow slice of the pie versus integrating it all together, and everything flows and everything connects. So I'm not going to leave you high and dry. I'm going to give you 3 different things we can do to help shift this and make it a permanent movement over here. And when I say permanent, put that in quotes, because fear is a natural response inside our brain to a given understanding of a given set of circumstances. The mind and the body always going to relate to each other, but we don't have to stay locked and blocked in our fear. We can instead get out of it very quick. And so I'm going to give you 3 steps, okay? Number 1, just that. Number 1 is take a deep breath and soften the tension in your body. Acknowledge where you're at. Acknowledge what you're going through. Because that right there, that deep breath, low and slow, breathe in the bottom part of your lung, That's going to move you out of your fight or flight system and into your rest and digest. It's going to pull you out of that human animal, the limbic response, the amygdala hijack, the panic, the adrenaline, the noradrenaline, the cortisol, the stress hormones. It's really hard to hyperventilate when you're breathing low and slow. And that's going to gear you back into your rest and your digest system. It's going to gear you back into being able to think more clearly. When our emotions go high, our intelligence goes low. So if you want to freak yourself out, talk really fast and get yourself really worked up and breathe really shallow and don't really breathe in a whole lot, and then you pass out. Right? But by breathing that way and that tension and that speech pattern as we speak up and get louder and raise our voice, we're driving ourselves out of our forebrain into our midbrain and our hindbrain. Midbrain, human emotion. Hindbrain, reptilian response, survival instincts. Brainstem is pure survival. And so as we pull ourselves back in fear, okay, breathe. Bring yourself back forward again. Okay? Now, I have a 5-step framework I call AAAOR, or the A3OR, which is this right here, right? Number 1 is awareness. You can't change, you can't fix, you can't control something you're not paying attention to or not understanding. I'm afraid. I am feeling afraid. That's an awareness. And then we have acceptance is the next thing. Doesn't mean you agree with it, doesn't mean you like it, but the reality is the reality. Dude, I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's okay. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed. I'm feeling afraid. That's okay. You're allowed to feel afraid. You're allowed to feel. Because just that allowing yourself to have that experience takes your tension down a little bit. Not, oh, I gotta toughen up. I gotta man up. I gotta resist. So acceptance, then we can appreciate what is the gift in this? What is this telling me? What is this showing me? If it's fear, what can I pay more attention to? What can I be more sensitive about? What am I scared about? What am I concerned about? What am I doubting, right? And that's where we begin to shift the language. I'm afraid. Actually, am I really afraid? Or am I concerned about the outcome? I'm feeling afraid, reactive. I'm feeling a state. Well, really, I'm concerned about the outcome. Cool. What is the outcome you want? What are the things preventing you, or what do you feel is preventing you from getting to your desired result? How can we mitigate those things? Right? This is what the sensitivity, this is the awareness. That's what fear is doing. Be sensitive and be aware. Cool. So mitigate the concerns, right? What is my area of uncertainty? So what am I doing? I'm starting to reframe the experience instead of this emotional thing that I'm scared of that's so big. Well, what specifically has got me concerned? What specifically am I stressed about? What specifically am I feeling afraid about? And that starts to dial you down into something specific that you can address to the best of your ability, right? So be aware, accept, appreciate, then you can take ownership. And that's the languaging of what am I really concerned about? What am I really worried about happening? What do I not want to happen? Where am I focusing on the telephone pole? Where could I focus on the gap? Where could I focus on the target I actually want? And then that's the last step, is your ability to choose a responsibility, right? Because that's where your ultimate power is. When you resist this and say, oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm going to lie to myself. I'm not really afraid. And then you do dumb shit and get hurt. Fuck. Right? Been there, right? I only know that because I've been there. I've done dumb shit. But this pattern of how do I become aware of this? Oh, I am aware of this. I'm having this sensation. Cool. What can I accept? How can I appreciate what it's bringing to my awareness? How can I appreciate this emotion? When your kids are afraid, hey, dude, thanks for letting me know you're afraid. It's okay. Take a deep breath with me, okay? Let's just breathe together. Okay, it's okay to be afraid. What are you really concerned about? What are you really focused on? What's the thing you don't want to have happen? Okay, what's the thing you do want to have happen? How can we make that thing happen? How can we get you to what you do want? And what you've just done is you've reframed your kids away from the fear. It's okay to face the fear, but then I'm not driving them more into the fear, and I'm not expanding the fear. I'm changing the conversation to what do they actually want? Where do they actually want to go? And let's get them there over there. That's going to be more better, yeah? So that's how we begin to shift this. When your wife is afraid, appreciation, oh my God, thank you for telling me. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for that. Because that helps me to expand my awareness and my sensitivity, my calculations, how I'm going to show up for you and for the family. Well, I'm just afraid you don't love me anymore. Bitch, what the fuck? I love you. Like, that's the wrong way to approach it, because now you're fighting fire for fire. You're afraid I don't love you. Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me. That could not have been easy. What's driving that feeling? See, not why do you feel that way? That spins the story. What's driving that feeling? That gives you a strategy. That gives you a ladder that you can climb. So do you want to stay in the cave? You want to stay in the who's right and arguing and fighting? Or do you want to build a ladder and climb out? Just ask it. Okay? So that right there is step number 1. Breathe. And then run the AAOR. the A3OR. I haven't come up with a cute gimmicky name for it yet. I don't really care, but I need that because it helps people. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and this is the thing that I freaking love to do, is you get emotional. You do an emotional integration and release. And what we do is we take anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and we just integrate and release that stuff once and for all. Usually it takes one conversation, usually about 2 hours. And we're going to shift all of this because we're going to wipe all this stuff away. Those memories, those doubts, those fears, those insecurities. What's the gift in those emotions? How can you learn in such a way that you can release them? And we do it in real time. Not weeks or months or years or decades of talk therapy. We're not going to do EDMR to try to interrupt the associations. We're just going to resolve the belief system at its core. That way we don't need gimmicks. We don't need tools. Yeah, tapping can be effective. EMDR, the eye movement stuff, can also be effective. What I've found is timeline integration, emotional integration and release, that is the most effective because we just go in. The problem is, can't really do it in a mass scale. It's literally a one-to-one experience. So if you want more about that, let me know. We'll set up a time to talk. I have a couple different ways that I structure that, but we do the shift immediately here, and then we have some things to help build the momentum so that we're dealing with the body and the mind, right? Or the mind and the body, right? We're dealing with the physical animal, but we're also dealing with the consciousness and the thought process. So if you want more about that, let me know. I can also send you a playlist. I have a series with permission for one of my clients. We went and did the release, and I've got some select pieces out of that to share, and you can see the shifting inside him as he's releasing anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt in real freaking time. Again, doesn't take days, months, weeks, years, decades. Although I've seen people in therapy freaking forever, and they're still struggling with the same shit. And truth be told, their therapist is struggling with shit too. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys struggling with? Like, resolve that. Get your healing. Because again, when you're healed, positive self future, you're over here. Other people or the negative or the past, you're still attached. There's still crap we got to release. So if you want more on that, let me know. And then number 3. This one is slightly slightly mean, but hope sucks. Right? Because what is hope? Think about when you're hopeful. When you're hopeful, you're like, fuck yeah, I got it. No, that's certainty. Hope is maybe. Hope is if. Hope is if everything goes right. If they do this, if they do that, it could possibly. Compared to certainty, hope sucks. But hope is better than despair. And despair is no fucking way. I can't have that. I'm too old. I don't have enough money. Whatever your wound is what's going to come up in despair, which is negative certainty. I'm certain why I can't have it. And I'm going to run you through a quick process just to give you a taste of that experience. So as long as it's safe to do so, I mean, obviously if you're driving, don't do this right now. Come back and play this later. But get yourself in a place where it's safe, where you feel comfortable. And I want you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath. And one more time, I want you to take a nice deep breath. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to think about a time where you accomplished something amazing, fantastic, something meaningful in your life, something incredible, something that you had to work for or strive for, and you finally achieved it and you felt like, yes, I'm there. Life has moved. It's changed. I am different. I am better. I am more than I was before. And I want you to think of that time. Think of that experience. It could be educational. It could be a relationship. It could be getting married. It could be having kids. It could be getting divorced. You're like, I'm finally free of that bitch. I don't know. But whatever the situation, a moment of happiness and a moment of light, some sort of accomplishment that you're 100%, that was amazing. And what I want you to do is close your eyes and take a deep breath. And in your mind, bring that situation up as a picture in your mind. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt, but have it as a picture in your mind. And feel that for a second and just appreciate that moment. And damn, I'm awesome. Damn, that was cool. And now what I want you to do is I want you to roll the film in your mind back about 4 clicks so that you're literally just seconds before that moment happened. Can you see that? You feel the anticipation, you feel the pull into that moment, but you're not there yet. It hasn't happened yet. And then I want you to take that picture and I want you to move it about arm's length away from you. And I want you to take the color and just darken it up a little bit. Make it a little more gray. Wash the colors out a little bit. Not grayscale, but just a little bit muted. And I want you to think about and feel towards that, not as a certainty, not as it actually happened, but I hope it happens. Maybe it happens. I mean, it could happen if. And as you say that inside, as you feel that, I want you to shrug your shoulders a little bit. I want you to take your hands and just kind of like flop your hands open like a dead fish and just like, maybe it could. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. I'm not certain. I hope it could happen. I pray that it happens. I have faith that it happens, but I really don't know. I trust, but I'm not 100% certain. Feel that hesitation in your voice, that shrug, that looseness inside. And then take a deep breath. And as you exhale, take it away from you and make it the size of a postage stamp. This little tiny square off in the distance. And take all the color out of it. Make it grayscale. Mute all the sounds so everything sounds like it's coming through cotton. Like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. And there's no way you can have this. There's no way you deserve this. You're not that kind of person. You're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too thin. Somebody's got something to say about why you can't have this. And you know, no matter what you do, it's impossible. You don't deserve this. Who are you to think you could have something like this? Feel that. That weight. That feeling of failure and just, fuck. Why do I even bother? We've all been here at moments in our lives. Some people live here all the time. But I want you to take a deep breath. Raise your chest, roll your shoulders back. And as you exhale, take that picture and bring it back closer, arm's distance away. Make it 8.5 by 11. The size of a sheet of paper, not a postage stamp. It's bigger. Bring the color back into it. Take that cotton off your ear and feel that anticipation. Like, oh man, if this happens, if that happens, oh, I could, maybe, I hope, but I feel it. Feel yourself being drawn forward. And that's hope at its best. And hope is amazing compared to despair. But feel that pull inside you. Just a couple of steps more. Just change this. Just do that. Feel what's possible with hope. Everything is bigger. Everything is brighter. You're getting closer. And now take a deep breath. And bring that moment closer still. And make it fill your whole vision. But hold yourself. Don't go into it. Hold yourself seconds before it actually happened. And now, baby, you know you're right at the edge. No more hope, certainty. Fucking no. This is gonna happen. Literally just the next heartbeat, the next instant, I'm fucking there. I did this. I accomplished. I made this happen. I'm going to be changed. I'm gonna be at that next fucking level. Shit, yeah. Feel it. Like it's a rubber band pulling you in, snapping you in like a magnet pulling, and you feel that draw, you feel that attraction. The universe fucking demands you're getting your result. But don't give in just yet. Feel that anticipation. Feel that certainty. Because you can have this certainty with your wife. You can have this certainty with your kids. You can have this certainty with your marriage. You can have this certainty with your career if you know how to focus and climb that ladder. Face everything and rise. Feel that pull. Make the colors brighter and bigger. Make the picture even bigger. And in just a moment, you're going to snap into it. And you're going to hear what you heard and feel what you felt. And you're going to fucking celebrate your ass off. 3, 2, 1, drop in. Feel it. Allow yourself. Be in that moment. Hear what you heard. See what you saw. Feel what you felt. Make it brighter. Make it bigger. Make it bolder. Double the emotion. Double the certainty. double the confidence. Fucking own this moment and feel it. This is what happens when you face everything and rise. This is what you're capable of. This is who you really are. This is where you could actually live. And this is how we find the ultimate solution to fear. Face everything and rise. And I'm going to suggest to you, don't go it alone. Get support. Get a community. Get a coach. /strategist /mentor. But go ahead and relax. Come back in this present moment and just breathe. How was that? Right? That was just a little process I like to do for people to take them from certainty, something you've actually done, make it something hopeful. Take it from hopeful down into something despair. You can't have this. Fuck everything and run. You can't. And you feel the shift for shit you know you actually did. Like, I fucking know I did that. But how do you feel when it's like taken away from you? It's the size of a postage stamp. But this is what we're doing to ourselves all the time, unconsciously. We are shifting our, what we call internal representation. We're shifting the way we connect to the things in our lives to drive us into heaven or hell. And if we're not conscious of the process, we are at effect, we are at the control, we are at the mercy of everything around us. Versus you can learn to live in a place of certainty. And you can say, I'm certain I don't have a fucking answer, but I'll figure it out. And that's where the trust comes in. That's where the faith comes in. And that, my friend, is the ultimate solution to fear. Are you going to fuck everything and run? Are you going to face everything and rise? So I'm Jeremy Roadruck. I hope you enjoyed this training. I would love to hear your feedback. Actually, no. I don't hope that you enjoyed this training. I know you enjoyed this training because I'm fucking brilliant and humble. Right? Because you don't tell people you're humble, they won't notice. And that's okay too. So definitely, if this resonated for you, let me know how this landed. I'd love to get the feedback because I'm always looking at ways to change and improve. I work primarily with men and with couples, and guys are hard to reach because guys will see stuff and they'll go, oh, that makes sense, nod their head and not engage. Women will be like, oh yeah, I heard that, oh, I like that, that makes sense, oh, me too. Like, they'll validate. Guys will nod their head unless the thing pisses them off, and then they complain. And I'm working to change that. Men, you don't need to be vulnerable. We need to be not vulnerable, that's down here, but we need to be raw, real, open, and honest. You be those 4 things, you're fucking bulletproof. I've got a community for you. I've got one-on-one programs for you. I'm here to serve. So thank you for raising your hand and saying, hey, I want this case study. Again, let me know how it landed for you. And if you want to do the emotional integration and release, let's figure it out, because suffering is optional. It totally is optional. You don't have to suffer. Pain, yeah, that's part of the deal. But suffering is something we do to ourselves, and we can heal that and resolve that once and for all. Right? Faith is important, but it's not a place I live. I live in a place of certainty. So I would love for you to come join me. Leaders make more leaders. I'd love to have you join my community, and let's move forward, dude. And we'll find a price point. If you're worried about finances, don't, right? There's so much more on the other side. The money's just a vehicle to get us there. So hit me up. Let me know how this landed, and share this with a buddy that you know is struggling. Or you're like, hey, dude, I know you got some stuff on your plate. Don't know all the whole deal, but I listened to this. It was really cool. This is what I liked about it. I think you might like it too. And share it. That's how we change the world. A lighted candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And I'm so fucking on fire in my life. I'm a goddamn bonfire. And the challenge is sometimes I fry people because I just go so far so fast because I have so much to share after almost 30 years doing this, 3 to 94. And I've got over 43 years of my own personal growth. That's a long time. Anyway, here to serve, here to light up the world. Hit me up. Let me know how this landed, and you make it a fantastic day. Talk soon. Bye.